Glenn, before we get to CFL, I did mention this on Tuesday that I was going to bring this up with you because I know you're such a massive supporter of the U Sport football. But the Regina Rams Calgary game, where we got 6 seconds left. We talked to Marshall Erickson, the running back with 4 tutties in hour one. I've never, ever seen it or heard of it. 6 seconds, 9-point deficit. Calgary scores, 2-point convert, and then they get the rouge. With Erickson was a great interview. He talked about how he would play that differently last time. But Glenn, I don't know. Have you ever seen that?
I have not, and but I'm not surprised. I mean, the coaching and the quality of play in U Sports continues to go arrow up. I mean, it really does. You guys know I spend a lot of time at the beginning of the year up at the U of S and do the Dogs Breakfast every year and get a chance to see how they're running their college football program and all the support that the local community gives them in Saskatoon. And the quality of coaching, when I see the combine and I see the quality of players that are going to the combine out of U Sports, some of which are going to play down south almost immediately, it just keeps arrow up and the quality becomes better. They're more pro ready. Not that every kid goes to college and plays college football to become a pro football player, but if that is their aspiration, if that is their dream, then you're seeing more and more pro-ready guys that are coming out of college, coming out of U Sports, that are ready to start in the CFL. I mean, 15, 20 years ago, it was almost unheard of that you came out of college and then went right in as a starter in Canadian football. It was almost unheard of. So I'm not surprised that we're seeing these great high-quality games, excellent quarterbacking. More and more Canadian quarterbacks play in both leagues as time goes on because of the great coaching that's going on in U Sports.
Yeah, the Rams are their home opener tomorrow, 7 p.m. against the University of Alberta Golden Bears at Liable Field. So I like it. The smaller stadium. It'll be good. Everyone can get cozy there. We can all bring blankets and Afghans, cuddle together. You had a question for Glenn.
Yeah. I think early in the year, Suits, we may have even been on here talking about how much of a absolute battle the West Division was going to be between Saskatchewan and Calgary on the rise, and Winnipeg still at the top of the mountain until someone knocks them off, and BC obviously with Rourke and showing like they're on the move to take the next step, and Edmonton looks to be better with a coaching change and likely to get a few more wins, and it really hasn't turned out to be that way. It looks like Saskatchewan and Calgary at the top have really solidified themselves. What's interesting to me is there's a real possibility that both teams sit at 9-3 after this weekend, and looking ahead to the final 6, 14-4 may not be enough to get it done for the Saskatchewan Roughriders to win the division, with them having that lost head-to-head series with Calgary. And who would have thought coming into the year that 14 wins could potentially get you second place?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the importance of those season series. And, the Riders own a few of them, but not the Calgary season series. So, and that's the team they're fighting with, obviously. So, it's going to go down to the wire. When you sent me that RP, I looked at the remaining schedule of both teams, and they're very, very similar. I mean, both teams have Montreal one more time. Both teams have BC. Calgary has BC twice, and they're going to be motivated for that crossover spot.
October 11th.
Yes.
The Stamps.
The Stamps have the Hamilton Tiger Cats and Toronto, and the Riders have Toronto as well. So, and Winnipeg 2 more times. So, you're looking at very similar schedules. Both teams have a bye, one more bye before they're, go into the playoffs. So, this is going to go down to the wire, and the Riders know one thing. They have to get home field and the bye to the final. They have to stay the at least a point ahead of Calgary. Yep. Tie doesn't get it done for them. So, and you're right. It might come down. You might need to win 15 games.
If you're the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, you're in the Winnipeg Blue Bombers coaching room, dressing room right now. What do you think the game plan is for Saturday?
Well, I mean, they're better at home. They're going to have that edge in the snap count, as we talked about going into Labor Day, that the Riders have. They're going to have the fact that Trevor Harris is going to have to communicate through, signals, hand signals, and receivers again are going to have to look at the ball being snapped, and that changes their timing. So that there's an advantage for the home team in this matchup because of how great the fans are in this matchup in both stadiums. I mean, it's another sellout, 12 or 13 in a row for Winnipeg, and they're going to be loud. They're going to make it hard on Trevor. So that's the edge that Winnipeg has. They still have the talent to be a tough out. You know that. You saw it in person. I mean, it went right down to a pick 2 to actually win that game, or we're going to overtime at the very least. If I'm the Bombers, though, do what if you're really any team and you're playing against the top teams in the league, do what you do best. And for the Bombers, it's Brady Oliveira on offense. Try to grind it out and be more physical on the line of scrimmage. That neutralizes the Rider pass rush, one of the best in the league. The Rider pass rush, that in Calgary, those are the two best lines in the league. And when you run at them, you take tremendous pass rushers, and you're telling them, you guys love to get after the quarterback. You love to pin your ears back. You know what we're going to do? We're going to make you tackle our big running back. And we're going to make you tackle him all game long. So even if the Bombers have to punt a couple of times because, Brady only gets 4-2, so what? Keep grinding it. If I'm Winnipeg, I do what I do best, which is start with Brady Oliveira pounding it up in the line of scrimmage. Get him out in the open with those swing passes, and get him in one-on-ones with linebackers. I'm not to say that means they automatically win, but it's what they do best. Do what you do best. If the other team takes it away, then you can move your chess pieces.
I'll tell you what's an interesting about the Winnipeg Stadium. Not called Winnipeg Stadium no longer, but you know what I'm getting at. Suits, you've been through it as a player, been there as a broadcaster. The noise level of that stadium affects everything you do. It makes it harder to coach on the sidelines. So when the Riders' offense is on field and that place is going nuts, the defense literally can't be sitting on the sidelines talking to each other. It is that loud. It disrupts everything, and it wears on you for 3 hours, and it is like you're at a rock concert playing inside your brain from the time that ball gets kicked off till the final gun. And it takes a different type of energy out of you. I remember standing on the sidelines, never taking a snap or doing a snap and leaving that field tired just because it is constantly on top of you. So it makes things very difficult in every aspect of the game.
Yeah, well, no, it does. I mean, I remember, breaking the huddle and having Richie Hall standing right beside me and asking me what the defense was because he didn't hear it in the huddle. And we turned and talked to each other and couldn't hear each other, standing like arm's length away from each other. So imagine that, standing like an arm's length away from your teammate and then having to signal the coverage. It is that crazy. I mean, early days of BC Place was like that too, when you were on the road and that, it was 50,000 going nuts. And you just couldn't hear anything. So it's all physical hand signals and communication without talking. That's why veteran teams and guys that have been playing together for some time, they handle that stuff a little bit better than a younger team. But yeah, that's the challenge. And there is also, when the Bombers lose the first in this matchup, you got to match that intensity coming out of the gate. And the short week. Guys. I mean, I just did Zooms with both Edmonton and Calgary. That's my game this weekend in their rematch, and it's almost like this survival of the fittest type of weekend. The intensity of Labor Day. And now by the fourth quarter, boy, you hope you have a lead in the second game going into the fourth, because you're running out of gas. You really are. It's a short week. It's a physical 2 weeks, most physical of the regular season. And I wish you could do it every week. You'd be a very good team if you could bottle that every week.
Right.
But it's human nature.
See Dalton Schoen back out, just to your point, that he gets back in for
Ontario Wilson.
Yeah, gets back. Yeah, so, I mean, there'll be some changes there in the matchup as well.
But we got a week of a Joe
Yep.
under our belts too, right? So, okay, what do you think, Glenn? Is this the weekend that you maybe give Campbell Fair a chance, kick him into the fire, and let him boot some balls?
Yeah, I think I would, if it were me, make the change. It's sounding a little bit like Corey Mace will not. I don't know what you guys have heard today, but as of yesterday, I was hearing that it probably is Brett again. But, that may change. You see how these couple of days of practice go. But for me, it's time to see him. I would not cut Brett. I wouldn't trade Brett. I would put him on the 1 game injured so he's protected. Don't put him on the practice roster, because another team could pick him up, and then you have to put him on the roster immediately to keep him. That would confuse things again. So, I would put him on the injured list for a game or two, tell him to keep ready, stay mentally strong, keep working on the game, and be ready. We might need you at the end of the year. I mean, at the end of the day, guys, I know we're trying to be careful because Brett's such a great guy and a great human being, and he's done it before. So we're all sort of expecting him to come out of this. But I think there's a message that from Corey Mace that he's on the border of right now messing with in the locker room. If every player in there thinks they have a half a season to work out of bad football or inconsistent football, let's put it that way, whether you're a DB or a linebacker or lineman or whatever, you don't have half a season. You don't have half a season to work out your problems. You have probably 3 games maximum. And if you're still... Go ahead,
Sorry.
Barney.
I was going to say, if he didn't just have a kid, the Rough Rider Foundation trip to Mexico, it'd have been like, hey, Brett, get out of town for a bit. Just get away from the game.
Well, it makes it an interesting thing because, I'm a huge Brett Lauther fan, as you alluded to. I think he's one of the best human beings I've ever had the pleasure of being around. I still call him a friend. But the kicking position is interesting because you're the only guy, essentially, right? I know they've brought in Campbell now, but essentially you're the only guy. If it's a D lineman that's having some challenges, or it's a defensive back having some challenges, or even a running back, there's some depth at the position where you can quite easily look and say, hey, we're going to sit you down for a week, get refreshed, maybe get healthy if something's bothering you, nagging you. We've got 5 other guys ready to go that get inserted in.
Yeah.
Makes it a little more difficult when it's essentially one guy.
It does, but they have another guy.
Yep, now they do. Yep.
He's been practicing. Yeah, and now it's a message that we're not getting rid of you. We're not cutting you. We may still need you. You're a grown man. You understand why. And Brett knows. He knows this is not what he wants. He knows he's been inconsistent. He knows if the coach, he wouldn't be surprised by it. We know that. So, I just think Corey starts to send a message to the team that there may be different rules for different guys. If he's set, let's say he's already, we don't know this, like you said, RP, maybe there's been an O-lineman that he took out of the starting lineup and didn't tell anybody. He just did it, and we said this will be the change, and we moved on and didn't really talk about it. Maybe there was a performance issue in some he made moves after 2 or 3 games. Well, if he does that with one player, you got to do it with the other players too.
I don't believe that. Personally,
I mean,
I'm like different. You know what? Different rules for different guys. I think.
Well, the only player that might be different in that regard is the quarterback. But again, that's another discussion. I don't think you can, and maybe saying different rules for different guys is too broad. But Brett's had 3 or 4 weeks here to work his way through this.
Yeah.
And yes, he's had some personal issues, and it's the responsibility of the head coach to put the best players on the field. And if you're starting to change your strategy, game strategy and management, because you're not completely confident in your kicker or any player for that matter, to me, it's time to make a change.
Great environment for him to go answer the bell this week. Toughest environment.
That's what I thought last week, and then he missed the.
Yeah, well, it's
yes,
redo,
exactly.
Mulligan. Yeah,
Mulligan.
I love it. I hope he goes 5 for 5 or something this week in a tough environment. Yeah, I know, and I know we all are.
I think everybody.
We're just
Hey, we've had this question on the text line a number of times, and then Kelly asked it again today, and I'm going to ask you. The face mask call is kind of where it's stemming from last week. He basically wants to know, he's in the dark on what can and cannot be challenged, and then when does the eye in the sky play into it?
Well, first of all, any sort of rough play, roughing the passer, rough play,
ripping a guy's head off.
Yeah, ripping a guy's head off. The command center can bring the input at that point. And we saw a few weeks ago, about a month ago, we saw the horse collar tackle in Saskatchewan that wasn't called on the field. It was at Mosaic. It wasn't called on the field by the on-field officials, and the replay center saw it, communicated to the head official, and then they threw the flag after the fact. So based on that, then that. I haven't talked to the league about that specifically, that one call and the face mask miss, but I would suggest that should have been called from the replay center if that's what they're going to do. I don't think they should be doing that, to be honest. I think it disrupts the game too much, and we shouldn't be calling penalties from Toronto when you're looking at slow motion replays quickly and things like that. It disrupts the flow of the game. So let's let the guys on the field call it, and if they miss one, they miss one. They're human, no problem. We'll move on. Yeah.
To your knowledge, and not specifically in this case, but to your knowledge, would the command center have access to all those replays? Because the TSN angle that showed at field level was as clear as day. It was non-debatable.
If you're watching the stream, watch the culprit here. He's looking around like, okay, where'd the flag come from?
Right. So that's what I just wondered, is if did the play get in before maybe they had access to that. I mean, there's no dispute. You see that, and if your job's to make that call into the stadium, it's undisputable right there.
Yeah, I mean that's probably what happened. I mean, I don't know the timing of when we showed that angle, but the angle on the stream right now is clear and obvious. There is no debate on what that was, a rough play call, face mask, and that's where I'll check though, and for Tuesday have the official wording of the league office on that. But I think we're going down a slippery slope as a league when the replay center can at some points call penalties and cannot call penalties. I mean, anytime they miss a roughing the passer, we stop the game so the replay center can take a look at it and say, yeah, there was one, let's throw a penalty flag. Or sometimes they'll look at it again and say, no, the penalty flag was thrown in error, let's pick that up. I mean, we want to get it right. We want to get it close to right. But as I've told you guys before, when I sat in the rules committee and listened to the rules committee talk and debate different calls like pass interference or roughing the passer, and I would hear, they would all look at the same video, and I would hear the room split in what they thought the penalty should have been or should not have been. And when you have the rules committee split, then really when you show replays, all you're doing is giving another person and their perspective another opinion into this discussion. So to me, let's go back to the officials on the field call the game. if you're in or out of bounds, in the end zone, not in the end zone, yes, we can go to replay for those because they're cut and dry. Everyone can see the foot is either in or isn't. So that's cut and dry. I mean, there's no interpretation there. And I think when we get into interpreting rules and then we add another opinion from the command center, even with a couple of better angles, we're going down a slippery slope, and it ruins the TV show, and that's what I'm concerned most about.
I'm with you, Suits. I think it's a game played by humans. It's ref by humans, and at times there's going to be mistakes from everyone involved, and I think there's a place where replay can interject. But to me, it's in all sport. I think it's become too much, and I'd be just as content that it went against us this time. It's probably going to go for us next time.
The three of us are all married.
Yeah.
We've said it. How many times have we said we all make mistakes?
Yeah, I don't want instant replay in any of our arguments or previous conversations.
Sometimes I would love that. I just wish the Alexa was recording all the time to go back to be like, hey, no, you...
Could you guys imagine that? If you could go back...
Love it.
And replay the argument. Oh my God, it would be, no, let's not
the argument. It's what started the argument. I feel that we're right more times than not.
My wife would just play a continuous clips of how many times she's told me what we're doing Saturday, and I still ask, what do we have going on this weekend?
And my wife always goes back on trips that I took 10 years ago. But yet you can't remember where the car keys are.
I mean, talk about having two different perspectives on the same reason for a fight to start.
Exactly.
I don't care how many times you show it or replay it. Her perspective guarantee you that.
I might be going to Western Pizza to watch a football game. Awesome. I don't think I'm going home now. I'm just kidding. Let's close on Calgary's an 8.5-point favorite as I look at Sports Select here in Edmonton. The rematch. Tough sledding there. Like what would Edmonton have to do? Would Vernon Adams have to get food poisoning?
Yeah, don't let Vernon Adams off the bus. Yeah. No. Hey, I think the Elks to win have to figure out a Rankin leak veer offense. I know you can't change everything you do right out of the gate, but Cody can run well enough. If they don't lean big time on Rankin, Calgary's sweeping this series. I mean, and I you can shut one guy down, but if you play two backs and you can put them both on the field at the same time, which I think they can, you've got two different weapons to go there, and you just run a bunch of that run and read, RPO stuff, and just get those, run the whole and stay on the field and keep Vernon Adams on the bench. If the Elks can do that, they can upset Calgary, but it'll be an upset. That is a heck of a good defense right now. Calgary's defense is outstanding. Hey, one more thing, guys, before we go. NFL starting. I'm going to be watching tonight. Can I just one more time repeat what I say every time at this time of year? We don't have to choose between leagues. No. You don't have to like one and hate the other. Let's just enjoy football. I'll be watching tonight. You guys will be watching tonight. It's a fantastic game. The nuance is different in a lot of ways, but I'll be watching NFL football all year too.
Love it, Suits.
High school football starting around Saskatchewan. Great entertainment. The Rams game tomorrow. Hilltops and Thunder. An absolute slobber knocker Saturday at Mosaic Stadium. It's great. Just football. We're all here for football.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Yeah.
I love it.
I love it. All right. Suits, have a good weekend. We'll talk to you next week, bud.
Thank you, gentlemen.
See you, Suits.